Now, let's return to the plans for the high-speed rail link and the government's latest effort to put forward the business case in favour. There's been a slight dip in the predicted financial returns. The expected benefit-cost ratio has fallen from £2.50 to £2.30 in benefits for every pound spent. It predicts HS2 will quadruple the number of fast commuter seats on parts of the network and double the number of train services, boosting the economy by billions of pounds every year. Well, Richard Oxley is the campaign director of the Taxpayers Alliance, a think tank which campaigns for lower taxes. He joins us now from our central London studio. A very good morning to you. Thanks for being with us.
Morning.
What are your concerns now in the light of this latest data?
Well, this appears to be yet another attempt from the government to justify and shore up support for HS2, despite the fact that it has consistently overestimated the benefits of the line and underestimated the costs. In fact, today's new business case, it's about the fifth version they've done, we see the cost-benefit ratio falling, but actually that would deteriorate far more if the government were being honest about the figures underpinning the case. They're relying on incredibly over high estimates of demand on railway. They are underestimating significant costs which have been exposed by numerous bodies. So I think it's about time that, rather than just trying to press ahead with this vanity project, that ministers started thinking, is this really a great way to spend what is going to be over £2,500 for every family in the UK, and whether actually there are better ways of investing in our infrastructure?
But the Transport Secretary, as I'm sure you're aware, said today that this is still essential to make sure the cities of the north are connected and will still bring billions to the economy.
Well, for starters, he's relying on a KPMG report which was shown to have cherry-picked the numbers. We know that HS2 Limited don't want to see any criticism. That's why they withheld some of the figures of areas which were receiving a worse service under the KPMG report. We actually know that their business model relies on many towns getting a worse rail service. They are spending a huge amount of money upgrading one of the lines, the long-distance lines, which actually has the least amount of overcrowding on it at a time, when if you look at commuters today, people who are stuck on intercity routes, they are struggling. They are jam-packed into overcrowded services. They need improvements there. They don't need to get to Birmingham half an hour faster.
But it's not just, you say, half an hour faster, as the government's trying to really get people to realise now this isn't just about speed. It's called high-speed rail, but actually it's also about capacity. And you talked about jam-packed commuter trains there. What is the alternative then? If you say scrap this, what's the alternative? Well,
the 51M, a group of local authorities, they have put a proposal forward which actually doesn't require any upgrades onto the actual network at the moment, so not disruption, but would actually vastly increase the capacity immediately on the rail networks. Those are the kind of ideas that the government should certainly be looking at. What instead they're planning to do is spend tens of billions of pounds upgrading one of the fastest lines already there, which is only at about 60% of peak capacity on long distance, instead of actually addressing the issues that we've really got with our rail network. What we've seen abroad is that many countries have seen investment in high-speed rail has actually meant that the other existing rail lines have had a worse service. In fact, what the government are doing is they've decided they want to press ahead with this vanity project. They want to make that case. They've repeatedly tried to make that case with their businesses, with their business models, and each time they've been thrown out for showing to have balmy assumptions. In this case, because they had been shown that they were assuming that people don't work on a train, they've suddenly had to increase the amount of business passengers on the line to make their sums work. So that isn't the right way to create an infrastructure project.
Just briefly, what would you say to politicians then who are due to vote on this very soon? Because you'll be aware, of course, that this project was launched by the Labour Party, who still are supporting this, even though now they have more conditions.
Look, when you are spending this amount of money for every family, if you look at Institute of Economic Affairs, we're talking £80 billion. When you're spending that amount of money on a UK infrastructure project, you've got to get it right. You can't just rush ahead having blind faith in that somehow your numbers will stack up and that spin will be enough to do it. So I think politicians need to take a step back. They need to have a very critical look at the case for this line and actually say, are there alternatives? Because that's the problem, is that even the government's KPMG report, which talked about £15 billion worth of benefit, a completely new way of assessing projects, but they didn't consider alternatives. It's about time that they started thinking about those alternatives rather than pushing ahead with a line which will ultimately be a white elephant and very expensive for families in the UK.
Robert Oxley, thanks very much indeed.